Hello and welcome to my science tutorials. In today's video, we want to learn number bases, where we'll be looking at how to convert to base 10. So without further ado, let's begin. So let's start with an example. We are to convert 1120 base 5 to base 10. Okay, so this is the question we have: to base 10 or base 10 numeral. So to convert any number to base 10, this is what we do. So in this case, we have 1120 base 5. So the first thing we do is we use each number to multiply the base. So we have 1 multiplied by 5. So the first one over here multiplied by the base, which is 5, plus the second one multiplied by 5, plus the 2 multiplied by the base, which is 5, and then plus the last number or the last digit, which is 0, multiplied by the base, which is 5 over here. Now after we are done multiplying like that, what we do is we give powers to the base. Okay, so the 5 5 5 5 we have over here, we give them powers starting from our right to our left. So we start from 0, so it becomes power 0, power 1, power 2, power 3. So from here, all we have to do is to expand each bracket and then add the results that we get. So over here, I have 1 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 3 will give me 125. So I have 125 here, plus into bracket 1 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 2 will give me 25. Then plus 2 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 1 will give me 5, plus into bracket 0 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 0 is 1, or any number raised to the power 0 is 1. So over here I have 1 multiplied by 125, that will give me 125, plus 1 multiplied by 25 will give me 25, plus 2 multiplied by 5 will give me 10, plus 0 multiplied by 1 will give me 0. So I have over here 125 plus 25, that will give me 150, plus 10, and that will give me 160 base 10 as my answer. So therefore it means 1120 base 5 is equal to 160 or 160 base 10. All right, let's have a look at another example. So we are to convert 1230 base 5 to base 10 numeral. Okay, so let's proceed to look at our solution. So we have 1203 base 5 to base 10 numeral. So let's do that. So we have I have 1203 base 5, and this will be equal to 1 multiplied by the base, which is 5, plus 2 multiplied by the base, which is 5, plus 0 multiplied by the base, then plus 3 multiplied by the base. As usual, we give the bases powers starting from the right to the left. So we have 0, 1, 2, and 3 over here. So we have 1 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 3 will give me 125, plus 2 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 2 will give me 25. So plus 0 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 1 is 5, plus 3 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 0 is 1. So I have over here 1 multiplied by 125 will give me 125, plus 2 multiplied by 25 will give me 50, 0 multiplied by 5 will give me 0, and then 3 multiplied by 1 will give me 3. So if I add all this, I will get 178 base 10 as my answer. All right, let's have a look at another example. So we are to convert 10011 base 2 to base 10 numeral. Okay, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So over here we have 100112 to base 10. So we do the usual. So 1 multiplied by the base, which is 2 in this case, then the first 0 multiplied by the base plus the second 0 multiplied by the base plus 1 multiplied by the base plus the last 1 multiplied by the base. So we start giving powers to the base from the left to the right. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have here 1 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 4 is 16, plus 0 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 3 is 8, plus another 0 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 2, which is 4, plus 1 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 1, which is 2, plus 1 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 0, which is 1. So from here I have 1 multiplied by 16 is 16, plus 0 multiplied by 8 is 0, 0 multiplied by 4 is 0, 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, and then 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. So I have here 16 plus 2, which is 18, plus 1 is 19. So my result or my answer is 19 base 10. So 10011 base 2 is equal to 19 base 10. All right, so let's have a look at another similar question in base 2 as well. So we are to convert 10010 base 2 to base 10. All right, so we do the usual. So 1 multiplied by the base, which is 2, plus 0 multiplied by the base, plus 0 multiplied by the base, plus 1 multiplied by the base, plus 0 multiplied by the base. So we do the numbering. So the given powers, so 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so from here we have 1 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 4 will give me 16, plus 0 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 3 is 8, plus 0 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 2 is 4, plus 1 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 1 is 2, plus 0 multiplied by 1. So from here we have 16 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0. Okay, so our result over here will be 16 plus 2, which is equal to 18 base 10. So therefore 10010 base 2 is equal to 18 base 10. Right, so let's have a look at one final example and then we end this tutorial. So we are to express 245 base 6 as a base 10 base 10 number, or as a number in base 10. All right, so this is very easy. You can pause the video, go ahead and solve this example, and then compare your answer with mine. All right, so let's write the solution to this problem. So 245 base 6 will be equal to 2 multiplied by the base, which is 6, plus 4 multiplied by the base, which is 6, plus 5 multiplied by the base, which is 6. So we give powers to the base starting from our right to left. So we have 0, 1, and 2. So we have here 2 multiplied by 6 squared will give me 36, plus 4 multiplied by 6 raised to the power 1 will give me 6, plus 5 multiplied by 6 raised to the power 0 will give me 1. So this is equal to 2 multiplied by 36 will give me 72, plus 4 multiplied by 6 will give me 24, plus 5 multiplied by 1 will give me 5. So 72 plus 24 plus 5 will give me 101 base 10 as my final answer. So 245 base 6 is equal to 101 base 10 as my final answer. So thank you so much for watching. This is how we convert any number in another base to base 10. We just use each individual digits in the number, you multiply it with the base, and then you give powers to the base from the left to right, and then you sum the products that you get, and that will give you your result in base 10. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll be looking at more about number bases. Bye bye. Hello and welcome to my science tutorials. In today's video, we want to learn how to convert from base 10 to base 2. Alright, so without further ado, let's begin. So we are to express 25 base 10 to base 2 which we also call the binary system or the binary numbers. Now for base 2, it only has values ranging from 0 to 1, so you will not get anything above 1 when you are dealing with base 2. Alright, so let's proceed to look at how we convert 25 base 10 to base 2. So what we do is, because we want to convert to base 2, we write down 2 first, then we draw a straight line, and then the number that we want to convert, right? So we write that number, 25 in this case, and then we write down R, which stands for remainder. So what we do is we divide the 25 by 2 until we can no longer divide, and then we write down the remainders at each step. So let's look at that. So I write down 2 here first. So how many times will 2 go into 25? It will go there 12 times, and 12 times 2, that is 24. It's less than 25, so which means we need one more to get to 25. So remainder is 1. So we write down the 1. So we repeat the process again. How many times will 2 go into 12? It will go there 6 times, which is exactly 12. So we are left with 0. So remainder 0. So we do it again. How many times will 2 go into 6? It will go there 3 times, which is exactly 6. So we are left with 0. So how many times will 2 go into 3 times? It will go in there once, which is 2. Remainder 1. And then how many times will 2 go into 1? It cannot go into 1. So we write down 0, and then we bring the 1 over here to the end over here. So this is what we have, and so we write our answer from bottom to the top. So therefore it means that 25 base 10 to binary or base 2 is equal to, I start from the bottom, 11001. So it is 11001 base 2. So this is my answer if I convert 25 base 10 to base 2. Right, so let's look at another example. We are to convert 23 base 10 to binary system. So 23 base 10 to binary system. Okay, so we do the exact same thing like we did earlier on. So we are to convert to base 2, so we write the base 2, then we write the number that we want to convert, which is 23, and then we write down our remainder. So we ask ourselves, how many times will 2 go into 23? It will go there 11 times. So 11 times 2, that is 22. So we are left with 1 to get to the 23. So you repeat the process again. How many times will 2 go into 11? It will go there 5 times, which is 10. And then we are left with 1 as the remainder. How many times will 2 go into 5? It will go there 2 times, which is 4, remainder 1. How many times will 2 go into itself, which is 2 at the top over here? It will go there once, it's left with 0. And then how many times will 2 go into 0? It is impossible. So we write down 0 and then we bring the 1 over here to the bottom over here. And like I said, we write our answer from bottom up. So our answer over here, 23 base 10, is equal to 10111 base 2. So that becomes our answer, 10111 base 2. All right, so let's proceed to look at more examples. So this time around, we want to convert 50. So convert 50 base 10 to the binary system. So whenever they say binary system, it means base 2. So keep that in mind. Binary system. Okay, so we write down the base which we want to convert into, which is 2 in this case. We write down our number, which is 50. Then we write down our remainder. So we ask ourselves, how many times will 2 go into 50? It will go there 25 times, which is 50 exactly. So the remainder is 0. So 2 will go into 25 12 times, which is 24. And so we are left with 1 over here. So these 2 now will go into 12 how many times? 6 times, which is exactly 12. So we are left with 0. So 2 will go into 6 how many times? 3 times, which is exactly 6. So we are left with 0. Now 2 will go into 3 once, which is 2, and the remainder will be 1. And then these 2 now will now go into 1 0 times. Then we are left with 1, which is this number over here. So my answer is from top to bottom. So which therefore means 50 base 10 is equal to 110010 base 2. All right, so let's look at one final example. So in this example, we want to convert. We have to convert 35 base 10 to binary system. Okay, so 2, 35, then we write down our remainder. Now 2 will go into 35 17 times, and that 17 will give me 34. My remainder is 1 because I have 35. So from 34 to 35 is only 1 difference. Now 2 will go into 17 8 times, which is 16. So we are left with 1 to get to 17, so remainder 1. Now 2 will go into 8 4 times, which is exactly 8, so we are left with 0. Now 2 will go into 4 2 times, which is exactly 4, so we are also left with 0 here. 2 will go into itself once, and remainder 0. Then 2 cannot go into 1, so we write down 0 here, and we bring this 1 to the end over here. So my answer, like I said, is from bottom up. So therefore it means 35 base 10 is equal to 100011 base 2. Okay, so this becomes my final answer. So thank you so much for watching. This is how we convert from base 2 to from base 10 to base 2. I'll see you in the next video where we'll be talking about how to convert from base 10 to other bases like base 7, base 8, base 3, base 9. You know, those bases from base 10 to any other base we'll be looking. Hello and welcome to my science tutorials. In today's video, we want to look at how to convert from base 10 to other bases. All right, so let's look at the first example that we have. So we have to write 37 base 10 as a number in base 5. So basically we have to convert 37 base 10 to base 5. So to do that, it's very easy. The first thing we do is we draw some 2 lines, then we cut them like this. At the first column over here, you write the base in which you want to write convert a number into, which in this case is base 5. Then in the middle over here, the number that we want to convert, which is 37. base 10, and then we write down remainder. So we'll be recording the number that remains after we do the necessary division. So I repeat my 5 over here, then I ask myself, how many times will 5 divide 37? So 37 divided by 5, so 37 will go, 5 will go into 37, it will go there 7 times, which is 35. So my remainder is 2, so I write the 2, then I write the 5 again. How many times will 5 go into 7? It will go once, which is 5. Then the remainder is 2 again. And then I write 5. How many times will 5 go into the 1 over here? It is impossible. So I write 0 here, and then I bring the 1 to the end over here. So I write from bottom up as my answer. So 37 base 10 is equal to 122 base 5. Okay, so that is our answer for the first example. So let's look at the second example. So the second example, we are to express 236 as a base 8 numeral. So we are to convert 236 into base 8. Now, if you note that 236 or 236 has been given to us without a base, which means it is in base 10. So we do our normal thing. So we write base 8 over here, then our 236 here, then we write down our remainder over here. So I ask myself, how many times can 8 go into 236? It will go there 29 times, which is equivalent to 232. So the remainder is 4. So I repeat the process again. How many times will 8 go into 29? It will go there 3 times, which is 24. And so the remainder is 5. Then I ask myself, how many times will 8 go into 3? It is impossible. So I write 0 here, and then I bring the 3 to the end over here. So my answer is from bottom up. So therefore it means 236 is equal to 354 in base 8. All right, let's have a look at 2 extra examples. So I am to convert 119 base 10 to base 5 numeral. Okay, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So I do my normal lines. My remainder is here. The number I'm supposed to convert is 119, and then it is to the base 5. Okay, so I ask myself, how many times will 5 go into 109? It will go there 23 times, which is equivalent to 115, and so my remainder is 4. Now, how many times will 5 go into 23? It will go there 4 times, which is 20, and so my remainder is 3. And now, how many times will 5 go into 4? It is impossible. So I write down 0 here, and then I bring 4 to the end over here. As always, my answer is from bottom up. So therefore, it means that 119 base 10 is equivalent or equal to 343 base 5. Okay, so let's have a look at one final example. So we are to express 101 base 10 to base 6. Okay, so this is very easy, and just like we've dealt with the first 3 examples, we are going to do the exact same thing to this example as well. So I draw out my lines, my remainder is here, my number is here, and then my base is here. So I ask myself, how many times will 6 go into 101? It will go there 16 times, which is 96. And so my remainder is 5. So I ask myself again, how many times will 6 go into 16? It will go there twice, which is 12, and so the remainder is 4. And the last one, how many times will 6 go into 2? It is impossible. So I write 0 here, and then I bring the 2 as the remainder over here. So therefore, my 101 or 101 base 10 is equal to 245 in base 6. And as always, if you want to convert from base 6 to base 10 back, all you have to do is to use the individual numbers to multiply the base and then add the sum of their product. So we do something like this as seen in the first example. So we number from the top 1 0 1 2, and then we solve to get our answer, which will give us 101. So thank you so much for watching. This is how we convert from base 10 to other bases. So thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Hello and welcome to my science tutorials. In today's video, we want to look at the addition of number bases. So let's start by looking at an example. We are to add 1 0 0 1 1 0 with 1 1 0 1 1. So this is what we are supposed to add. Now if you look at this, the fact that we have 1 0 0 1 1 0 and then 1 1 0 1 1 tells me that this is all in base 2. This is base 2. So the base we are dealing with over here is base 2. So we are to add in base 2. All right, so let's go ahead and look at how to add this. So I have 1 0 0 1 1 0. Then I have 1 1 0 1 1. I'm supposed to add. So let's go ahead and look at that. Now remember, we are adding in base 2. So let me write it small over here. So base 2 is our final answer. So adding from the right to the left as usual, 0 at the top over here plus the 1 at the bottom will give me 1. It's not more than 2, so we write the 1. Now 1 plus 1 is 2, so we can write 2 since we are dealing with base 2. So we ask ourselves a question: how many times will the base, the 2 over here, go into the 2 that we added, that we got from adding this 1 to 1? So I repeat that again. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we ask ourselves, how many times will the base go into that 2? So the base, which is 2, will go into the 2 once, and then we write that 1 at the corner over here. Once it goes 1, it will remain 0, or nothing will remain. So we write the remainder, and then we carry the number of times the base will go into the number, which is 1 over here. So now I move to the third digit. 1 plus 0 is 1, plus the 1 that we carried initially is 2. So we can write the 2. So we do the exact same thing again. How many times will the base go into the 2? It will go there once. So let me cancel the first one. To go there 1. So remainder 0. So we write down the remainder. We carry 1. So I move on to the next one. 0 plus 1 is 1, plus the 1 that we already carried, so making 2. So it's the same thing. 2 will go in there 1, remainder 0. So I write 0. Then I come to the next one. 0 plus 1 is 1, plus the 1 that we carry, it's 2. So the base will go in there once, and it's left with 0. We write that. Then we add 1 plus nothing over here, which is 1, plus the 1 that we carried is 2. At the same time, 2 will go into that 2 that we got. It will go there once, and it's left with 0. So I write down the 0 over here. Now I have nothing over here to add, so I'll just bring the 1 that I carried over here to the end over here, and this becomes my answer in base 2. So if you add 1 0 0 1 1 0 with 1 1 0 1 1, you get 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 base 2 as your answer. All right, so let's proceed to look at another example so that we further understand how to add in number bases. So this time around, we are to add the following numbers. We are to add 322 base 5 with 114 base 5 and 3, 2, 4 base 5. Okay. Now, if you look at this, we are dealing with base 5 over here. So it means that when we add, we shouldn't have any number that exceed 5 in our result. So let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So I have 3, 2, 2 base 5. I'll write this 2. Then I have 1, 1, 4 also in base 5. Then I have 3, 2, 4 also in base 5. So my answer as well will be in base 5. Now, 2 plus 4 will give me 6, plus 4 will give me 10. Now we can write 10 since the 10 is obviously greater than the base, which is 5. So we need to write something else. So we ask ourselves, how many times will 5 go into the 10? It will go there twice. So we write the 2 aside, and it will be left with 0, or it will remain 0. So we write down the remainder over here. Then we proceed to the next set of values. So we have 2, 1, and 2. So 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 2 that we carried initially, this one, becomes 7. So 5 will go into 7 once, and it will be left with 2. So we write down the 2 over here, then we carry the 1. So I move on to the next digit. So 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7, plus the 1 that we carried already, making it 8. So 5 will go into 8 once, and then it will be left with 3. So I write down the 3, and then the 1 that I carried initially, since there is no number to add in front of these guys over here, I'll write that 1 in front over here. So my answer will be 1320 base 5. So let's proceed to see another example. In this example, we have to find the sum of the following numbers, that is 256 base 8 and 342 base 8 and 421 base 8. Okay, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So I have 256 in base 8, 342 in base 8, and then 421 in base 8. Because we are dealing with base 8, we are expecting our result to be in base 8, which means no value should be 8 or above 8. All right, so we have 6 here. 6 plus 2 makes 8, plus 1 makes 9. So I ask myself, how many times will the base go into 9? It will go there once, remainder is 1. So I write down the remainder. I carry the number of times it will go in there, which is 1. So 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 1 is 12. So for 12, 8 will go into 12 once. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus the 2 over here, 10, 11, plus 1 over here, so yes, which is now 12, yes, 12. So 8 will go into the 12 once, and it will be left with 4. So we write down the 4. So we carried 1. So I move on to the next one. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 4 is 9, plus the 1 we already carried makes it 10. Now, how many times would 8 go into the 10 that we have? It will go there once, and it will be left with 2. So I write down the 2, which is the remainder. And since I don't have any number in front over here to add, I bring the 1 that I carried to the front over here. So I get 1241 base 8 as my answer over here. All right, let's look at one final example. So I'm to find the sum of 303 base 5 and 104 base 5. This is very easy. So I have 303 in base 5, then 104 in base 5. So let's proceed. So 3 plus 4 will give me 7, and 7, 5 will go into 7 once, so I write down that 1. It will be left with 2, so I write 2 here, or the remainder. So I come to 0 and 0. 0 plus 0 is 0, plus the one that we carried initially makes it 1. Then I come here, 3 plus 1 is 4. It's not above, it's not 5 or above, so I write down the 4. So 303 base 5 plus 104 base 5 will give me 412 base 5. So thank you so much for watching. This is how we add in number bases. So thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next. Hello and welcome to my science tutorials. In today's video, we want to look at the subtraction of number bases. Alright, so let's proceed and look at the first example that we have in this tutorial. So we are to evaluate 11011 base 2 minus 101 base 2. Okay, so this is the problem that we have. So let's proceed to subtract these numbers. So we have 11011 in base 2. Then we also have 101 base 2. And we are subtracting. All right, so let's look at that. Now, this is very easy. When it comes to number bases, subtraction is quite easier. So we have 1 minus 1, that will give us 0. We have 1 minus 0 will give us 1, because we are subtracting nothing out of something. And then we have here 0 minus 1. It's basically impossible for us to do that subtraction, so we have to borrow. Now if we borrow from here, we'll be left with 0, and whatever we borrow from here, that 1 becomes 2, since we are borrowing in base 2. So we have 2 over here. Now that 2 minus 1 will give us 1. So now if we come on over here, we have 0 over here minus nothing, that will give us 0, and then the 1 minus nothing, that will give us 1. So our answer over here is 10110 base 2. Now the only difference here is that when we borrowed 1 from the 1 over here and it's left with 0, the one that we borrowed, when we were bringing it to the 0 over here, we changed it to the base, because when we are subtracting in base 10, which is the normal subtraction that we normally do, we always say when we borrow, it becomes 10 and we add it to the previous number. And in this case, we are subtracting in base 2, so whatever we borrow becomes 2, and then we send it and add it to the previous number. All right, so let's look at another example. So we are to evaluate 1341 base 5 minus 242 base 5. All right, let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So I have 1341 base 5 and then 242 base 5. We are doing the subtraction, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this particular problem. Now we have 1 minus 2 here, which is impossible. We can subtract 2 from 1, so we borrow. So I'll borrow 1 from here, I'll be left with 3, and the 1 that I borrow becomes 5. So if I add that 5 to the 1 over here, it becomes 6. So I now have 6 at the top over here. So 6 minus 2, that will give me 4. So I write down my 4. Now I have 3 here. 3 minus 4, that is impossible, so I have to borrow again. I borrow 1 from here, I'm left with 2, and the 1 that I borrow, I will not add it to the 3 over here. It becomes, I will not add that 1 as 10, but I'll add it as 5, since we are dealing in base 5. So that 1 becomes 5 plus the 3 over here, then it becomes 8. So I now have 8 over here. So 8 minus 4, that will give me 4. So I write down the 4 over here. So I am left with 2 over here. So 2 minus 2, that will give me 0. And then I maintain the 1 over here, and that becomes my final answer. So if I subtract 242 from 1341, and they are all in base 5, I will get 1044 base 5 as my answer. All right, so let's proceed to look at another example. So we have or we are to evaluate 523 base 7 minus 65 base 7. Okay, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So I have 523 in base 7 and then 65 in base 7. Very good. So let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. Let me maintain the base 7 over here. So I'm to subtract 5 from 3, which is impossible. So I'll borrow 1 from the 2 over here. Then I'll be left with 1 over here. Now the 1 that I borrow becomes 7 plus the 3 over here, then it becomes 10. So I now have 10 here. 10 minus 5, that will give me 5. So I have 5 over here. So I'm left with 1 over here. So 1 minus 6 is impossible. So I have to borrow again. So I borrow 1 from the 5 over here. I'm left with 4. That 1 that I borrow, because we are dealing in base 7, becomes 7. So the 7 plus 1 over here becomes 8. So I now have 8. 8 minus 6, that will give me 2. So I have 2 over here. And then the 4 I have at the top over here, since there is nothing here, I will bring it down here. So my answer becomes 425 base 7 as my final answer. All right, let's proceed to look at another example. So in this example, we were given 5162 in base 7, and they did the subtraction for us. So they have 2644 here, also in base 7, and we were told that the answer was 2 asterisk 15 base 7. So we were asked to find the missing number, which is the asterisk over here. So what is the value of the asterisk? That is what we do not know. So what this means is that we are supposed to do the subtraction ourselves and then find the answer or the missing number over here. So let's proceed and look at that. So I have 5162 base 7 and then 2644 also in base 7. We are subtracting. So let's proceed to look at that. Now I have 2 here minus 4. That is impossible, so I need to borrow. So I borrow 1 from the 6 over here. I am left with 5. That 1 becomes 7, and I add that 7 to the 2 over here, so I get 9. The 1 that I borrow becomes 7 because we are dealing in base 7. So I have 9 at the top here. 9 minus 4, that will give me 5. Okay, so already we have the first value looking exactly as what they have in their subtraction, or what we have over here. Now I have 5 over here, so 5 minus 4, that will give me 1 exactly, so that is also correct. Now I have here 1 minus 6. It is impossible for me to subtract 6 out of 1, so I have to borrow from the 5 over here. So I borrow, I'm left with 4. The 1 that I borrow becomes 7, and if I add that 7 to the 1 over here, I will be getting 8. So I have 8 here. 8 minus 6, that will give me 8 minus 6, that will give me 2 over here. And then I have 4 left over here. 4 minus 2, that will also give me 2. So my answer is 2215. And if I compare it to what I've been given here, it means this value over here is the asterisk. Therefore, the value of the asterisk is 2, as we've been asked to find. All right, let's look at one more example for this particular problem. All right, so we have to subtract 122 base 3 from 1001 base 3. All right, now if we look at the sentence we've been given, they say subtract 122 base 3 from 1001 base 3. From means that this is the bigger number and we are subtracting 122 from that. So I'll write the 1001 base 3 first, then I subtract the 122 base 3 from that. So I have my subtraction sign over here. Now if you look at this, we have to subtract 2 from the 1 over here, which is actually impossible. So I need to borrow, but I have 0 here, I have 0 here. I can't borrow from the 0, so I have to borrow all the way from here. So if I borrow from here, I'll be left with 0. and that one that I borrowed over here will come to the 0 over here, and because we are dealing in base 3, it becomes 3, so here will become 3. Now I have to borrow from the 3 again, so it will be left with 2, and the one that I borrow from the 3 becomes 3, and I add to this guy, it becomes 3. And then I need to borrow from the 3 again to this one, so I borrow 1 from here, we are left with 2 here, and that 1 becomes 3, and then the 3 will come here plus the 1 over here, so here becomes 4. Okay, so if you look at this, I have 4 minus 2, that will give me 2. I have here 2 minus 2, that will give me 0. I have here 2 minus 1, that will give me 1. I have here 0, so this is all I have. So my answer is 102 base 3. Now if you look at it, this is how we did the borrowing. So we had 1001, 122, all in base 3. Now we borrowed initially from here, so we are left with 0. And because we are dealing in base 3, whatever we borrowed became 3. So we brought the 3 over here plus the 0 over here, it becomes 3. So that's the 3 we have here. But remember, we are not borrowing onto this number. We want to borrow onto the first digit we have over here. So we need to borrow from the 3 over here again. So when we borrow 1 from here, we are left with 2. But that one that we borrow becomes 3, and then we add it to the 0 over here, it becomes 3. And then from then again, because we want to have the number borrowed onto the 1 over here, we borrow from here again, so we are left with 2, and the one we borrow again becomes 3, and we add it to the 1 over here, and that becomes 4. So that was what I did over here. So now if you do the same subtraction, you get 102 base 3 as your final answer. So thank you so much for watching. This is how we do subtraction in number basis. I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll be talking about multiplication of number basis. So thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Hello and welcome to my science tutorials. In this video, we want to look at multiplication of number basis. So let's start by looking at a very simple example. We are to multiply 21 base 3 by 21 base 3. Okay, so let's proceed to look at how multiplication of number bases work. So we have 21 base 3, another 21 base 3. So let's look at that. We are supposed to multiply. So just like the way we do normal multiplication, we do the same thing over here. So we have 1 multiplied by 1 will give us 1. 1 multiplied by 2 will give us 2. Then 2 multiplied by 1 will give me 2. Then 2 multiplied by 2 will give me 4. Now because it is 4, it is more than 3. So we have to make sure it is not more than 3, since we are dealing with base 3. So 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. Then we ask ourselves, how many times will 3 go into 4? It will go there 1. We write down 1 aside. It's left with 1 as a remainder. So we write down the remainder first before we bring this to the end, since we have no other number to multiply again. So this is what we are left with. So after here, all we have to do is to add what we have over here, and then we get our final answer. So we have 1 plus, there's nothing at the bottom over here, so it's 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1, so we have 1 over here. 2 plus 2 is 4, and because we are dealing with base 3, we can write 4. So we ask ourselves, how many times will 3 go into 4? It will go there 1. We write that 1 down, and then it will be left with 1. So we write down the remainder over here. Then we carry that one, the one which is the number of times that 3 go into 4. Now we have 1 over here, so we have 1, so we are supposed to write 1 here. But remember, we've carried some 1 earlier on, which is the guy over here. So that 1 plus the 1 over here becomes 2. So I write down 2. So we have no number carried. And then I have 1 over here, so I bring 1 over here. So my final answer is 1211 base 3. So this becomes my final answer after I multiply 21 base 3 by itself. All right, so let's have a look at another example. So over here, we are to simplify 203 base 5 by 42 base 5. And then we are to leave our answer in base 10. Leave the answer, you have to leave the answer in base 10. Okay, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So first of all, we have to do our normal multiplication in base 5, and then after we are done, then we convert the answer to base 10. So I have over here 203 base 5, and then I have 42 base 5. All right, so we are multiplying. So 2 multiplied by 3 will give me 6. Now because 6 is above 5, we can write the 6. So we ask ourselves, how many times will 5 go into 6? It will go there once, and it will be left with 1. So we write down the remainder. Now 2 multiplied by 0 will give me 2, plus the 1 that we carried will give me, 2 multiplied by 0 is 0, so plus the 1 that we carried, so we have 1 over here, and then 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. It's not above 5, it's not 5 and above, so we write down the 4. Right, so now I come to the second digit, which is 4 over here. 4 multiplied by, this is no longer here, 4 multiplied by 3, that will give me 12. Now I ask myself, how many times will 5 go into 12? It will go there 2 times, which is 10, and we are left with 2 as the remainder, so we write 2 here as the remainder. Now 4 multiplied by 0 is 0, plus the 2 we carried, so it becomes 2, so this is no longer here. Now 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. Now 5 will go into 8 once, it will be left with 3, so we write down the remainder, which is 3, and then remember we have 1 over here that we carried, so we have 1 over here. So now all we have to do is to add everything we have over here, and then we get our final answer. So 1 plus nothing over here will give me 1, obviously. Now 1 plus 3 will give me 1 plus 2 will give me 3, so I write down the 3 over here. Now 4 plus 2, because this is in base 5, 4 plus 2 is 6, we can write down the 6. So we ask ourselves, how many times will 5 divide the 6? It will go there 1, remainder 1, so it goes there 1, it's left with 1, so we write down the remainder and we carry this 1. So we have 3 here, plus the 1 that we carried is 4, then write 4, then we have 1 here plus nothing, so it's 1. So our answer, after we multiply 203 base 5 by 42 base 5, will give us 14131 base 5. Now remember, the question says we should leave our answer in base 10. So to do that, we convert 14131 base 5 to base 10. We do that by multiplying each individual number over here by the base, and then we power the base from right to left. So by that, we have 1 multiplied by 5, the first 1 over here multiplied by the base, then plus the 4 multiplied by the base, which is 5, then plus 1 multiplied by the base, then plus 3 multiplied by the base, then plus the last digit, which is 1 multiplied by the base, which is 5. So we start numbering or giving it powers from right to left. So we power the bases, so we start from 0, 1, 2, 3, then 4. So let's proceed. So over here we have 1 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 4 will give me 625. So plus 4 multiplied by 3 raised to the power 5 raised to the power 3 is 125. So I have 125 over here, plus 1 multiplied by 5 raised to the power squared is 25. So I have 25 here, plus 3 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 1 is 5. Then plus 1 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 0 is 1. So I have 1 over here. So from here I simplify. So 1 multiplied by 625 will give me 625, plus 4 multiplied by 125 will give me 500, plus 1 multiplied by 25 will give me 25, plus 3 multiplied by 5 will give me 15, plus 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1. So 625 plus 500 plus 25 plus 15 plus 1 will give me 1166 base 10, or you can just leave it like this as your final answer. So if we multiply 203 base 5 by 42 base 5, we get 14131 base 5, and if we convert that to base 10, we get 1166 base 10 as our final answer. All right, so let's have a look at one more example. So we are to evaluate 1011 base 2 by 1101 base 2. All right, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So we have 1011 base 2 and then 1101 base 2. Okay, so the pen is not writing too well, but it's fine. So we use each number at the base to multiply what we have at the top. Okay, so we have, let me rewrite this guys well. So we have 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1. 1 multiplied by the 1 over here will also give me 1. 1 multiplied by 0 will give me 0. 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1. So now I come to the 0 over here. 0 multiplied by 1 will give me 0. 0 multiplied by 1 will give me 0. 0 multiplied by 0 will give me 0. 0 multiplied by 1 will give me 0 over here. So I proceed to the next number, which is the 1 over here. 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1. So I write it under this exactly. 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1. 1 multiplied by 0 will give me 0. 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1. So I come to the last digit over here. So 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1. So I write it directly under this. Then the 1 here multiplied by the second one will give me 1. 1 multiplied by 0 is 0. And then 1 multiplied by the last one over here will give me 1. So this is what I have. So all I have to do is to add everything here. So if I create the dot of these guys coming down here, so we have 1 here, so I just write the 1 here. 1 plus 0 is 1, so I write it since the base we are dealing with is in base 2 for all of them. So this is 1, this is also 1. So 0 0 plus 1, it is also 1, so I write that 1 over here as well. So I now have over here 1 plus 0 is 0, is 1, sorry, plus 1 is 2, plus 1 over here is 3. So now 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Now 2 will go into that 3 once. I write down 1 here. It will be left with 1, so I write that 1 over here. Then now I have 0 plus 0, which is 0, plus 1, which is 1, plus the 1 that I have over here becomes 2. Now I can write that 2. So how many times will the 2 go into the 2? It will go once. It's left with 0. So I write the 0 over here. I carry the 1. So 1 plus 0 is 1, plus the 1 that I carried over here is 2. 2 will go in there, 1, remainder what? 0. So I write the 0 here. I carry the 1. So I have this 1 over here, plus the 1 that I carry, it's 2. Then 2 will go into that 2 once, remainder 0. So I write the 0 here. And then because I have only this remainder left, the number of times it went in 1 left, I bring that 1 to the front over here. So my answer is 10001111 base 2, right? So this is my final answer, 10001111 base 2 as my final answer if I multiply these two numbers that I have over here. So thank you so much for watching. This is how we do multiplication in number basis. So thank you once again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.